The book's going to be called Virginia's Montgomery County.
And the reason for that title is that there are so many Montgomery counties in the United States, and sometimes we get confused with one of the others, but Virginia has its own Montgomery County.
Right. We came up with the title because it is the story of Montgomery County, which was very important in the early history of Virginia, and we just thought the title told it all, what the book was about. It starts out in the geography of the county. It goes into the early history. Before it was Montgomery County, when it was Fincastle County, the frontiers, then it goes on up into the Civil War time period. And then it covers different things like business and commerce, industry, the blacksmiths and mines, has a recollections and tales and legends chapter.
The part that I was involved in was the recollection, tales, and legends chapter. And I remember growing up hearing my grandparents and my father talk about things that they remembered. And I kind of relied on some of those stories and legends to put in the chapter that I worked on.
I think there are a number of other interesting chapters we've added. We've added a chapter on folklore because there are a number of good stories concerning folklore. We also put in a chapter on Lewis Miller specifically because we feel he's been a chronicler of the early information, you might say, about the county and the whole New River Valley, actually, by the pictures he's made and the words he put on those pictures that tell the history. Also, another chapter that maybe is a little bit different is the one on the arts, and also another chapter with literature.
One of the chapters is about agriculture and steam power and water power, the mills and things that produce power before the steam engine, before the gas engine became part of the economy. And I was real interested in the water-powered mills that occupied about every stream in the county. And it seemed like there were about 28 of them, if I counted correctly, at one time, shortly after the Civil War.
In working on this book, we have the Lester collection. And that collection contained 400 or 500 glass plate negatives, which go way back, and a number of photos, regular negatives that people are acquainted with today. There are pictures from John Klein's collection in Blacksburg. There are pictures from Bob Shelton's father's collection in the book as well. And some of these collections were consolidated collections by a photographer, but also collections that he may have purchased or she may have purchased when they were photographing.
I think when people read the book, they'll have a great appreciation for those people who made Christiansburg what it is, and the county and Blacksburg and the surrounding communities. And it's important to know what people did in the past to make things like they are today.
I think it's important because Montgomery County has such a varied history, and a history that's really important to the whole region, being one of the very early counties, and I guess amongst the three earliest that were formed right in 1776, going into 1777.
I want to find out a little about their heritage and have a more appreciation for Montgomery County, and hopefully they'll become more interested in the history of Montgomery County.
Well, I hope citizens become more aware of the history of the county, and so we've been real careful in the research. We've actually had 19 authors who have used this material, and in some case, or written this material, and in some cases they went back and re-researched some earlier material that was used in other books. So I think we've updated there, and then we've updated on the earlier site survey that was done for the county also, which covered up to 1950. So we've attempted to bring that up to date.
I think we need to learn from our past. History has a lot of lessons we can learn from it, and we kind of learn where we come from, and that tells us maybe where we're going in the future.
Well, there are some interesting mysteries, we think, and we mentioned some of these. They're mentioned in the latter part of the book as kind of an afterword specifically, but I'm sure people are acquainted with them. One is Daniel Boone and the role he may have played in the county, or in whether he lived here or traveled through this area.
There's several things. I'm not sure what we want to disclose before the book's out. I will say there's a little interesting tidbit in there. Daniel Boone, everybody always wants to know about Daniel Boone and where he was at in Montgomery County, or if he was here. So you have to read the book to find out if he was here.
Well, when we first started this, I thought it would be a simple matter to make a history book. But I found out that it's a lot more to it than I thought. And we did learn some things and put some things in it that hadn't been recorded before, and I thought made the book real interesting for a new reader and an old reader to read.
I think people will appreciate it. It's going to be well indexed. It's split up into 18 chapters, and to help things along, I think it's the only county history book that has so many pictures in it. It has, as I understand it, over 500 pictures in the book. So I think you can browse through it and look at pictures, and everybody likes to do that usually, or you can stop and read, and you can skip chapters or whatever, and it will still make sense because of the way we prepared it.
When the book becomes available this summer, it'll be $65 at the Montgomery Museum and other local outlets we haven't set up yet.